My Brother's Famous Bottom Goes Camping. Chapter 4, What a Shower. You should see what my dad's brought home. You'll never guess, so I'll give you some clues. It's blue and yellow, and the roof goes up and down. You can sleep inside it. You can even go to the loo inside it. And it's not a tent, it's a tent on wheels. Yep, it's a camper van. It's got 4 beds, Dad boasted. There are 5 of us, I said. Cheese and Tomato can share, Dad explained. And he lifted the twins up into one of the beds. They'll be like sardines in a tin. You mean a cheese and tomato sandwich, Dad? I grinned. Mum raised one eyebrow. You two are like peas in a pod, she said. It's very worrying. I'm already living with a crazy loon, and now my oldest child is getting just like him. Oh dear. Dad gave Mum a hug. You love it, really, he suggested. Get off, you big lump, she giggled. What's this cupboard for? She pointed to a double-door wardrobe and opened it up. Magic! It wasn't a wardrobe at all. It was a proper cooker unit with a stove, an oven and grill and everything. Oh my, said Mum, impressed. That is clever. There's a fridge, I added. And look here, a toilet. Mum gazed into the tiniest little room. Oh, dinky. You can take a shower in there, Dad said. You are ridiculous, Ron, laughed Mum. There's no room for a shower. What am I supposed to do? Stand upside down in the toilet bowl and flush it? Dad rolled his eyes. Now who's being ridiculous? You sit on the toilet. See that shower head above you? The water goes everywhere, but eventually it drains away through the plug hole down there. Mum wasn't convinced. Suppose I put the shower on by mistake when what I really want to do is flush the loo? Suppose we give you a brain transplant, suggested Dad. Honestly, how can you muddle up the shower with the toilet flush? I suppose I am being a bit fussy, agreed Mum. She glanced round the inside of the van again, and a smile crept onto her face. I knew she was impressed. This was the best thing that Dad had ever done. We went back indoors and talked over holiday plans for ages. Going camping, shouted Cheese, while Tomato went racing round the room, making big jumps and getting wilder and wilder until Mum caught her up in her arms and swept her off her feet. Camping, she yelled, waving her carrot in Mum's face. Cecily Sprout says she likes camping. Tomato squinted up at Mum. What is camping? She asked. You'll soon see, laughed Mum. It's going to be fun, and Cecily can come with us. Yes, nodded Dad. Good idea, because if we run out of food, we can always... No, Ron, shouted Mum. That is not funny, not when you're only 3. I'm not 3, protested Dad. You know exactly what I mean. Anyhow, sometimes I think you're more like a 3-year-old than the twins. Thanks a lot, muttered Dad. And Poop can come too, Cheese announced with a bright smile. But Mum shook her head. No, I'm afraid not, darling. We can't take Poop as well. Cheese's face began to crumple. Poop come too? It's not fair. You said Tomato can take Cecily. Yes, I know I said that, but Cecily Sprout is a carrot. And it's all right to take carrots camping, but you can't take hens camping. Dad looked at Mum with astonishment. Excuse me, it's all right to take carrots camping, he echoed. Are you mad? Tomato joined forces with her brother and waved Cecily at Mum. Poop is Cecily's friend and they'll both be sad. Look, Cecily Sprout is crying. She began to make whimpering noises on behalf of the carrot. I'm sorry, we can't take a hen camping, repeated Mum. Why not? Tomato sniffed. Because they don't make tents for hens, snapped Dad. Poop can sleep in my bed, my brother said. All the hens have to stay here, insisted Mum. Tomato put the carrot to her ear. What's that? Shh, Cecily is telling me something. Cecily Sprout says you and Daddy are horrible and all the hens should go camping and people should make tents for them. Dad's eyebrows were climbing up his head. I can't believe I'm being told off by a carrot. I think I'll go and do something sensible in the garden. I followed him out. I wanted to know what we were going to do with our goat, Rubbish. She needs milking every day, and I'm the one who does that. Granny and Lancelot can look after her, said Dad. They've done it before. What about the hens? I added. I'll get your mother to talk to Mrs. Tugg about that. She's a reasonable woman, unlike Grumblebum, her husband. The hens don't need much attention, and she likes them, apart from Captain Birdseye, but that's only because he crows in the morning and wakes her up. I rang Granny to tell her our news, and she was so excited to hear about the camper van that she said she and Lancelot would come round straight away. Sure enough, a few minutes later we heard the familiar roar of their motorbike as they came up the road. Lancelot pulled off his helmet and whipped the shades from his eyes. "Wow," he breathed. "That is some motor." "It's got a shower," Mum said proudly, "but you have to stand in the toilet to use it." Granny looked confused. "Why do you boil sand for the shower?" "I beg your pardon?" asked Dad. "You said you get sand and boil it," Granny repeated. I laughed. I knew what had happened. Granny is a bit deaf at times, and she mistakes words. Gran, Mum said you stand in the toilet to use the shower." But Granny was still confused. "She may very well have said that, Nicholas, but it still doesn't make sense. Why do you stand in the toilet if you want a shower? If I want a shower at home, I stand in the shower, not in the toilet. I think that's rather horrible. I wouldn't want to stand in a toilet. It's most—" "You don't have to stand in the toilet," Dad suddenly yelled, tearing at his hair. "You sit on the toilet, then you take a shower." Granny looked at Dad steadily. "You always were a noisy child," she told him, "and I still don't see why I should have to sit on the toilet if I want a shower. When I want a shower at home, I don't—" "You're not at home. This is a camper van," Dad howled. "Just look at him," said Granny, shaking her head. "You'd think he was 3, wouldn't you?" She glanced at the beds, counting them. "There's only room for 5 to sleep. Where do Lancelot and I go?" Dad turned red. "You're not coming," he said tetchily. I was just thinking of the family." "But we are family. I'm your mother," Granny pointed out. She caught my eye and winked at me. She was winding Dad up. "I know," Dad grumbled. Family. Brenda and Nicholas and me and the twins." "And Poop," added Cheese. "Oh, yes, you must take Poop," said Granny quickly. "How many more times we are not taking Poop?" Dad couldn't take much more. Cheese began punching the air with one hand, then the other, and he marched around shouting, "Pooper dooper, super pooper." Then Lancelot joined in, tucking his hands under his armpits and flapping his elbows and strutting round the van like a chicken. "We're going camping." "Right, that's it," grumbled Dad. "I've had enough. I'm taking the camper van back and we're going to stay at home and twiddle our thumbs and not go anywhere at all." Mum slipped an arm around Dad's waist. "Oh, stop being such a misery guts. Don't you know when you're being teased? Your mother's pulling your leg. Of course she and Lancelot aren't coming with us. They'll be here looking after Rubbish." Dad's frown vanished. "Oh, right. I'd forgotten about that. So there we are. We're going on a camping holiday. And I can't wait."